They held him hostage. Earth set the stars ablaze for him. Part 1. The trading station floated in the dark space between stars. It was old and ugly, built from metal plates welded together over centuries. Thousands of aliens from dozens of species walked through its corridors every day. They came to trade, to talk, and sometimes to hide. Daniel Hartley did not belong here. He was a farmer, or at least he used to be. Now Earth called him an agricultural specialist. He helped alien worlds grow food that humans could eat. It was boring work, but it paid well, and it let him send money home to his daughter. Sophie was 12 years old. She had her mother's eyes and her father's stubborn nature. Her mother had died 3 years ago, and since then, Daniel had done everything to give Sophie a good life. Every credit he earned went to her education, her future, her happiness. He looked at the small screen on his wrist. Sophie's face smiled back at him from a photograph. He would be home in 2 days. He had promised to take her to the ocean. She had never seen the ocean. The explosion threw him against the wall. Daniel hit the ground hard. His ears rang. Smoke filled the corridor. He could hear screaming, but it sounded far away, like it was coming from underwater. He tried to stand, but his legs would not cooperate. Figures moved through the smoke. They were tall and thin, with pale gray skin and 4 arms. Volani. Daniel recognized them immediately. But these Volani wore black armor and carried weapons that glowed with blue light. One of them grabbed Daniel by the throat and lifted him off the ground. "This is him," the Volani said. Its voice was cold and flat. "He carries the data." Daniel did not understand. What data? He was just a farmer. He grew vegetables on alien soil. He did not carry anything important, but then he remembered. The neural implant. Earth had given it to him before this mission. It contained research about growing food on Volani colony worlds. The Volani government had requested the information as part of a trade deal. Daniel was supposed to deliver it tomorrow. "Please," Daniel said. "I don't know what you want. Just take the implant. Take whatever you need." The Volani hit him across the face. Daniel tasted blood. "We do not want your data, human," the Volani said. "We want you. Your people have spread across our galaxy like a disease. It is time someone reminded them of their place." More explosions echoed through the station. Daniel could hear human voices shouting, weapons firing. Someone was fighting back. But it was not enough. The Volani dragged him through the corridors. Daniel saw bodies on the ground. Some were human, some were not. The attackers did not care who they killed. Commander Laura Bennett appeared at the end of the corridor. She was the military officer assigned to protect the human quarter. She was bleeding from a cut on her forehead, and her uniform was torn, but she held her weapon steady. "Let him go," she said. The Volani laughed. It was an ugly sound. "1 soldier against 20, the leader said. "Human bravery is famous across the galaxy. Human stupidity is less well known, but equally impressive." More Volani emerged from the smoke behind Bennett. She was surrounded. "Run!" Daniel shouted. "Tell Earth what happened. Tell Sophie I love her." Bennett hesitated. Every instinct told her to fight, to save this man, to die trying if necessary. But Daniel was right. Someone had to survive. Someone had to tell Earth. She ran. The Volani did not chase her. They had what they wanted. Daniel felt them attach something to his wrist. A small device with a blinking red light. "A camera. Your people will watch," the leader said. "They will see how weak they truly are." The device activated. Daniel knew the transmission was going out across the galaxy, reaching every human world, every human ship, every human home. And reaching Sophie. He thought about his daughter sitting in their small apartment, watching her father beaten and dragged away by aliens. He thought about the fear in her eyes. The confusion. The helplessness. "Sophie," he said, looking directly at the camera. "I love you. I will come home. I promise." A Volani struck him from behind. Daniel fell to his knees. "Take him to the ship," the leader commanded. "The Pale Doctrine will show the galaxy what happens to those who contaminate our stars." They dragged Daniel away. The last thing he saw before they put a bag over his head was the cold black of space through a window. Somewhere out there, Earth waiting. His daughter was waiting. He had to believe he would see them again. On Earth, the transmission played on every screen. In government buildings and private homes, in schools and military bases, humans watched one of their own beaten and taken Dot in a small apartment in Chicago. Sophie Hartley watched her father disappear. She did not cry. She did not scream. She simply sat very still, her hands pressed against the screen as if she could reach through it and pull him back. Her grandmother held her close and whispered empty words of comfort. "It will be okay. They will bring him home. Everything will be fine." But Sophie knew better. She could see the truth in the eyes of the adults around her. They were afraid. They did not know what to do. Across the world, the United Earth Council gathered for an emergency session. Representatives from every nation sat in a great circular chamber, their faces grim. On the main screen, the transmission played on repeat. Daniel Hartley, beaten and bleeding, saying goodbye to his daughter. Secretary General Diane Crawford stood at the center of the chamber. She was 60 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes. She had spent her life fighting for peace. She had believed that diplomacy could solve any problem. But watching that transmission, something changed inside her. "They have one of ours," she said quietly. The chamber fell silent. "They have one of ours," she repeated, louder this time. "And they will answer for it." The stars waited. Earth was about to remind the galaxy why humans were never to be touched. They held him hostage. Earth set the stars ablaze for him. Part 2. 3 days passed. 3 days of silence from the Volani government. 3 days of Earth demanding answers and receiving nothing but contempt. Admiral Kevin Marsh stood in the command center of Luna Base, staring at the massive display screen that showed the galaxy. Red dots marked every human ship. Blue dots marked Volani territory. The distance between them seemed very small. Marsh was 62 years old. He had served in the Earth Navy for 40 years. He had fought pirates, rebels, and hostile aliens. He had buried friends and watched colonies burn. He was known for 2 things: his patience and his complete lack of mercy when that patience ran out. His patience was running out. Any response from the Volani government? He asked. His aide, a young officer named Peters, shook his head. "Nothing official, sir. But High Prelate Vasori gave a public statement this morning." "Show me." The screen changed. A Volani appeared, tall and thin with pale gray skin. Vasori wore ceremonial robes decorated with gold thread. His forearms were folded across his chest in a gesture of dismissal. "The Volani Collective does not negotiate with lesser species," Vasori said. "One human life is not worth a diplomatic incident. The mail taken by the Pale Doctrine is acceptable collateral in a larger conflict. Earth should focus on its own problems and leave Volani affairs to the Volani." The recording ended. Marsh said nothing for a long moment. "Acceptable collateral," he finally said. His voice was very quiet. That is what he called Daniel Hartley, a man with a daughter waiting for him at home. Acceptable collateral. Peter shifted uncomfortably. He had served under Marsh for 5 years. He had never seen the Admiral look like this. "Sir, what are your orders?" Marsh turned away from the screen. "Begin full mobilization. Every ship, every soldier, everything we have." Peters blinked. "Sir, a full mobilization has never been done." Not even during the war with the Keth. That would mean pulling ships from every colony, every trade route, every defensive position. I know what it means. The Galactic Council will interpret it as an act of war. Good. Let them. Peters swallowed hard. Sir, with respect, is one man worth risking a war with the Volani Collective? Marsh turned to face him. His eyes were cold. Lieutenant, if we do not fight for one man, then what exactly are we fighting for? Daniel Hartley is not a soldier. He's not a spy. He's a farmer who wanted to help alien worlds grow food. He has a 12-year-old daughter who is watching the news every night, hoping to see her father again. If we abandon him, if we decide that one life is not worth the trouble, then we are no better than the Volani. And I refuse to accept that. Peters nodded slowly. Yes, sir. I will begin the mobilization. On Earth, Sophie Hartley became famous without wanting to be. Reporters surrounded her school. Cameras followed her everywhere. Everyone wanted to hear from the little girl whose father had been taken by aliens. Her grandmother tried to protect her, but Sophie made her own choice. She agreed to one interview. Just one. The reporter was kind. She asked soft questions at first. How was Sophie feeling? What did she miss most about her father? Was she scared? Sophie answered each question carefully. Then, the reporter asked the question that would change everything. Sophie, what would you say to the Volani who took your father? Sophie looked directly at the camera. She did not cry. She did not beg. Her voice was steady and clear. I would ask them one question. Why won't you give me back my dad? He never hurt anyone. He just wanted to help people grow food. He just wanted to come home and take me to the ocean. We were going to see the ocean together. She paused. Her small hands were clenched in her lap. I don't understand why you hate us so much. But I know this. My dad said humans never leave each other behind. He told me that since I was little. Humans never leave each other behind. So I know Earth is coming for him. And I hope you let him go before they get there. Because my dad also told me something else. He said humans are kind, but when someone hurts their family, they stop being kind. The interview spread across the galaxy within hours. Every species saw it. Every government discussed it. A 12-year-old human girl had said more than any diplomat ever could. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from 30 species gathered to discuss the human situation. Most of them believed this would be resolved quietly. The Volani were powerful. The humans were still young, still weak, still learning their place in the galaxy. But a few representatives knew better. The Dazari ambassador, an ancient creature with scales like emeralds, spoke first. You are making a terrible mistake, she said to the Volani representative. We have seen humans fight. We have studied their history. They destroyed their own world with war before they learned peace. They carry violence in their blood like a virus. And they love their children more than anything else in the universe. You have taken a father from his daughter. There is nothing more dangerous than a human protecting its young. The Volani representative laughed. They are a young species with old ships and small numbers. The collective has 10 times their fleet. They will complain, they will threaten, and then they will do nothing. Secretary General Crawford sent the Volani a final ultimatum. Release Daniel Hartley within 72 hours, or face the consequences. The Volani response came quickly. A single message, broadcast publicly for the entire galaxy to hear. Come and try. Admiral Marsh received the message on Luna Base. He read it once, then handed it to Peters. They have made their choice, Marsh said. Now they will live with it. He looked at the display screen. 2,000 red dots glowed in the darkness. Every human ship in existence, gathered and ready. Send the order. We move in 12 hours. Peters hesitated. Sir, What should I tell the crews? Marsh thought about Daniel Hartley. He thought about Sophie. He thought about every human who would watch this unfold. Tell them we're bringing our man home, and anyone who stands in our way will learn why the galaxy should never touch our people. They held him hostage. Earth set the stars ablaze for him. Part 3. The jump drives activated at exactly midnight, Earth time. 2,000 human warships tore through the fabric of space and emerged at the edge of Volani territory. It was the largest military operation in human history. Captain Ryan Oates stood on the bridge of the ESV Resolute, watching the stars reform around him. He was 45 years old, with gray at his temples and scars on his hands from a dozen battles. He had commanded ships for 20 years, but he had never seen anything like this. Behind the Resolute, the human fleet stretched across space like a river of steel and fire. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, carriers. Every class, every design, every ship that could fly and fight. Earth had sent everything. All ships reporting in, Captain, Lieutenant Megan Torres said from her tactical station. Full fleet integrity confirmed. No vessels lost in transit. Oates nodded. Open a channel to Admiral Marsh. The Admiral's face appeared on the main screen. He looked tired but determined. Captain Oates, you have the Vanguard. The Volani border fleet is approximately 6 hours ahead of your position. They have already begun moving to intercept. Understood, sir. What are our rules of engagement? Simple. We do not fire first. But when they shoot, we end it fast. Disable their ships if possible. Destroy them if necessary. Our only goal is Daniel Hartley. Everything else is secondary. Yes, sir. The channel closed. Oates turned to his crew. You heard the Admiral. We're not here for revenge. We're not here for conquest. We're here for one man. A farmer with a daughter waiting at home. The Volani think we will back down. They think we are bluffing. Let's show them how wrong they are. The fleet moved forward. 6 hours later, they met the Volani border defense. The Volani commander was named Cathvos. He had served for 50 years and had never lost a battle. His fleet numbered 3,000 ships, larger than the human force. His crews were experienced, his weapons were advanced, and his confidence was absolute. He broadcast a warning to the human fleet. Turn back now, or face destruction. You cannot win this fight. Your species is young and weak. The Volani Collective has ruled these stars for 10,000 years. One human life is not worth the death of your entire fleet. Captain Oates responded on an open channel, broadcasting to every ship in both fleets. You took one of our people. We came to get him back. This is your last chance. Stand aside. Return Daniel Hartley, and this ends without more death. Refuse, and we will go through you. Cathvos laughed. Brave words from a small species. Let us see if your actions match your speeches. The Volani fleet opened fire. What happened next would be studied by military scholars for centuries. The humans did not fight like any species the Volani had ever faced. They did not hold back. They did not hesitate. They did not retreat. Every human ship pushed forward, absorbing damage that should have crippled them, continuing to fight with broken hulls and burning engines. They fought like each ship carried the weight of the entire species. Like losing was simply not an option. Lieutenant Torres worked her console with desperate speed, coordinating fire patterns and defense grids. Captain, we're taking heavy damage to the port side. Hull breach on decks 7 through 9. Seal those decks. Keep firing. Sir, the Volani flagship is targeting us directly. Good, let them focus on us. That gives the 33rd Destroyer Group time to flank them. The battle raged for 4 hours. When it ended, the Volani border fleet was broken. Over 1,000 of their ships were disabled or destroyed. The human fleet had lost 300 vessels. The humans were not finished. They regrouped and pushed forward. Kethvos escaped in a damaged cruiser, sending a desperate message to the Volani homeworld. Send everything. The humans are coming, and they will not stop. Across the galaxy, other species watched the battle footage in stunned silence. The Galactic Council convened again, but this time the mood was different. Fear had replaced arrogance. Council observer Ethan, a neutral historian from a species called the Meridii, recorded their observations for future generations. The Meridii had watched empires rise and fall for 100,000 years. They had seen wars that burned entire star systems, but they had never seen anything like this. We called them young, Ethan recorded. We called them weak. We believed their compassion made them soft. We were wrong. Their compassion is not weakness. It is fuel. It drives them to do things that older, wiser species would call impossible. They have sent their entire military capacity to rescue one farmer. Not a leader. Not a general. Not someone of strategic importance. A farmer with a daughter. Ethan paused, their 4 eyes blinking slowly. The Volani do not understand what they have awakened. The humans do not calculate the value of their people. They do not weigh lives against resources. Every human life carries the full weight of Earth behind it. This is terrifying. And this is beautiful. On the Volani homeworld, High Prelate Vasori watched the battle reports with growing horror. His 4 hands trembled as he read the casualty numbers. How is this possible? He demanded. They are a lesser species. They should have been crushed. His military advisor, a battle-scarred veteran named Theser, spoke carefully. High Prelate, we underestimated them. Their ships are not as advanced as ours, but their crews fight with a unity we have never seen. They protect each other at all costs. They do not retreat even when logic demands it. And they are coming here. Our home fleet is mobilizing, but I am not certain it will be enough. Then we use the prisoner as a shield. Broadcast a message. Tell them we will execute Daniel Hartley if they advance further. Theser hesitated. High Prelate, I fear that will only make them angrier. Do it. The message went out across the galaxy. A video showed Daniel Hartley, beaten and bleeding, kneeling in a dark room. A Volani soldier held a weapon to his head. Stop your advance, the message said, or watch him die. Admiral Marsh received the message aboard his command ship. He watched it once, his face expressionless. Then he gave his orders. Full speed ahead. We're not stopping until we have him back. They held him hostage. Earth set the stars ablaze for him. Part 4. The human fleet did not slow down. They pushed deeper into Volani space, and with each passing hour, the galaxy watched in disbelief. Admiral Marsh commanded from the bridge of his flagship, the ESV Liberty. Around him, officers worked in focused silence, coordinating the largest military advance in human history. Admiral, his communications officer, reported, the Volani home fleet has formed a defensive line around their homeworld. Approximately 4,000 ships. Understood. Signal Captain Oates. Tell him to prepare the vanguard for engagement. Sir, there's something else. The Volani are evacuating their military installations along our path. They're pulling back everything to protect their homeworld. Marsh allowed himself a small smile. They're scared. Good. The human advance was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. They destroyed military targets with surgical precision. Weapons platforms, defense stations, warship construction facilities. All of it burned. But they did not touch civilian ships. They did not attack cities. They did not bomb colonies. Every species watching understood the message. This was not genocide. This was not conquest. This was a rescue mission with the power of a full invasion behind it. The Volani did not understand it at all. Why are they not attacking our cities? A Volani commander asked during a strategy meeting. They have the firepower. They could kill millions. High Prelate Vasori shook his head. Because they are weak. They lack the conviction to do what is necessary. But Caesar, the military advisor, saw the truth. No, High Prelate. It is the opposite. They want us to know they could destroy us, but choose not to. They are showing the galaxy that humans are not monsters. They are showing that the only thing they want is their man back. And they will dismantle our entire military to get him. Then we must kill the prisoner. And this, Caesar hesitated. High Prelate, if we kill him, they will not stop. They will burn this world to ash. Right now, they are holding back. If we kill Daniel Hartley, there will be nothing left to hold them back. Zasori did not listen. Deep within the Pale Doctrine stronghold on a moon orbiting the Volani homeworld. Daniel Hartley waited in darkness. He had been beaten many times. His ribs were broken. His left eye was swollen shut. But he was still alive. And as long as he was alive, he had hope. He thought about Sophie every moment. He remembered her first steps, her first words, the way she laughed when he tickled her. He remembered the promise he had made to her mother before she died. He would take care of their daughter. He would always come home. The door to his cell opened. A Pale Doctrine guard entered, carrying a small device. "Your people are coming," the guard said. "They have destroyed half our fleet. But it does not matter. You will be dead before they arrive." Daniel looked at the guard with his one good eye. "You don't understand humans very well, do you?" "I understand enough. You are weak, soft, emotional. You let your feelings control you. That is why you will always lose. You think our emotions make us weak." Daniel laughed, even though it hurt. "Our emotions are the reason 2,000 warships are tearing through your space right now. Our emotions are the reason my people will never stop. You took a father from his daughter. Do you know what a human parent will do for their child? Do you have any idea?" The guard did not answer. Daniel continued. "We don't leave our people behind. Not ever. You could have let me go. You could have apologized and moved on. But you wanted to make a point. You wanted to show the galaxy that humans could be pushed around. And now you're going to learn the most important lesson in the universe." "What lesson?" "Never threaten a human's family." At that moment, the lights went out. Daniel had spent his days in captivity studying his prison. He had watched the guards, learned their routines, found the weaknesses in the facility systems. He was not a soldier, but he was an engineer at heart. He understood machines, and he had been waiting for this moment. During his last meal, he had hidden a small piece of metal from his food tray. He had used it to access a power junction near his cell. And now, at the exact moment the human fleet engaged the Volani home defense, he had triggered a cascade failure in the facility's primary power grid. The guards stumbled in the darkness. Daniel moved. It was not a fair fight. Daniel was injured, weak, barely able to stand. But he was fighting for his daughter. That gave him strength he did not know he had. He took the guard down with a desperate tackle. They fought in the darkness, crashing against walls and furniture. The guard was stronger, but Daniel was fighting for everything that mattered. He won. By the time the emergency lights came on, Daniel had the guard's weapon. He was breathing hard, and blood dripped from a dozen new wounds, but he was alive. "Sophie," he whispered. "I'm coming home." 20 minutes later, Commander Laura Bennett led her strike team through the facility's outer defenses. They had entered through a maintenance tunnel while the main Volani forces were distracted by the fleet battle above. Thermal scans show one human life sign, one of her soldiers reported. "Level 3, Section 7. That's him. Move fast." They cut through the Pale Doctrine defenders with brutal efficiency. Every member of Bennett's team had seen the video of Daniel's abduction. Every one of them had a personal reason to fight. They found Daniel in a corridor, limping toward them with a Volani weapon in his hands. Bennett stopped in shock. "Hartley?" Daniel lowered the weapon. His legs gave out, and he slumped against the wall. "Commander Bennett," he said. "Took you long enough." Bennett rushed to his side. "We came as fast as we could." "Can you walk?" "I can try. But first, I need to know. Is Sophie okay?" Bennett smiled. "She's fine. She's waiting for you on Earth. The whole planet is watching." Daniel closed his eyes. Tears streamed down his battered face. "Then let's go home." The extraction was quick. Human ships provided cover fire, systematically disabling every Volani vessel in range without destroying them. It was a final message to the galaxy. We could have killed them all. We chose not to. Daniel was carried aboard a medical ship. As the fleet began its withdrawal, Admiral Marsh received confirmation. "We have him, sir. He's injured but alive." Marsh leaned back in his chair. For the first time in days, he allowed himself to breathe. "Signal the Volani. Tell them we have what we came for. We're leaving. But if they ever touch one of our people again, we will come back. And next time, we won't hold back." They held him hostage. Earth set the stars ablaze for him. Part 5. The journey home took 3 weeks. Daniel spent most of that time in the medical bay, healing from injuries that would have killed a weaker man. Doctors worked around the clock to repair broken bones, treat infections, and help his body recover from the trauma of captivity. But the worst wounds were not physical. Every night, Daniel dreamed of the cell. He dreamed of the beatings, the darkness, the cold certainty that he would never see his daughter again. He woke up screaming, reaching for threats that were no longer there. Commander Bennett visited him often. They did not talk much. She simply sat beside him, a quiet presence that reminded him he was no longer alone. "How do you do it?" he asked one night. "How do you fight, see terrible things, and keep going?" Bennett thought for a long moment. "I remember why I fight. I think about the people waiting at home, the people who need protection, the people who deserve to live without fear." She looked at him. "I think about fathers who just want to see their daughters again." Daniel smiled weakly. "Thank you for coming for me. We would have come for anyone. That's what it means to be human." On Earth, the world waited. Sophie Hartley watched the news every day, counting the hours until her father's return. Her grandmother stayed close, making sure she ate, slept, and remembered that hope was not foolish. The galaxy watched too. Species that had dismissed humanity as young and naive now saw them differently. The humans had sent everything they had to rescue one man. Not a leader, not a warrior, not someone of strategic importance. A farmer. A Father. Council observer Euthon presented their final report to the Galactic Council. "We have witnessed something unprecedented," Euthon said. "The human species has demonstrated a principle that older civilizations have forgotten. Every individual matters. Every life has value. And that value is not measured in credits or military strength or political influence. It is measured in the love of a daughter waiting at home." The Thazari ambassador nodded slowly. "We warned the Volani. They did not listen. No, they believed their numbers would protect them. They believed the humans would calculate the cost and decide one man was not worth it. They were wrong." Euthon's 4 eyes swept across the chamber. "Let this be a lesson to all of us. Never take a human hostage. Never threaten their families. Never assume that their compassion makes them weak. Their compassion makes them terrifying." The Volani collective sued for peace. High Prelate Vasari was removed from power by his own government, blamed for the disaster that had cost them half their military and all of their reputation. The members of the Pale Doctrine were handed over to human authorities to face justice. Secretary General Diane Crawford addressed the Galactic Council from Earth. "We did not want this war," she said. "We came to the stars hoping for peace, partnership, and shared prosperity. But we have learned that peace must be protected. And we have shown the galaxy what we will do to protect our own." She paused, her eyes hard. "Daniel Hartley is coming home. He's not a soldier or a hero. He's a father who wanted to take his daughter to the ocean. The Volani tried to use him as a symbol of human weakness. Instead, he became a symbol of human strength. Not the strength of our weapons or our ships. The strength of our love for each other." She leaned forward. "Remember this. Every human life carries the full weight of Earth behind it. Touch one of us, and you face all of us. This is not a threat. This is a promise." The fleet arrived at Earth on a Tuesday morning. Ships filled the sky like stars that had come down to celebrate. Billions of people watched as the medical transport carrying Daniel descended through the atmosphere. Sophie waited at the landing field with her grandmother. She wore her best dress, the blue one her father had given her for her birthday. She held a small sign she had made herself. It said, "Welcome home, Dad. I love you." The transport landed. The doors opened, and Daniel Hartley walked out. He was thinner than she remembered. His face was bruised, and he moved slowly, carefully. But his eyes found her immediately, and his face broke into the biggest smile she had ever seen. Sophie ran. She crossed the distance between them in seconds and threw herself into his arms. He caught her, holding her tight, breathing in the scent of her hair. "Dad," she sobbed. "You came back." "I promised," he whispered. "I always keep my promises." They stood there for a long time, father and daughter, while the world watched and wept with them. Admiral Marsh stood nearby, his weathered face soft with emotion. Commander Bennett wiped tears from her eyes. Billions of people across Earth, and the colonies saw the moment and felt something shift inside them. This was what it meant to be human. This was what they were fighting for. Later that night, Daniel and Sophie sat on the roof of their apartment building in Chicago. The city lights glowed below them, and above, the stars stretched across the sky like scattered diamonds. "Dad?" Sophie said quietly. "Yes?" "Were you scared?" Daniel thought about the question carefully. "Yes, I was scared every day. But I was never hopeless. Because I knew that Earth would come for me. And I knew you were waiting." Sophie leaned against his shoulder. "The whole galaxy saw what we did. The teacher said other species are scared of us now. Maybe, but I hope they learn something more important than fear. I hope they learn that humans take care of each other. That we don't leave anyone behind. That every life matters to us." He wrapped his arm around her. "The stars are watching us, Sophie. And they know something now that they didn't know before." "What's that?" "They know that when you love someone, you fight for them. No matter how far away they are. No matter how powerful the enemy is. You cross the galaxy if you have to. You set the stars ablaze." He kissed the top of her head. "That's what humans do." Sophie smiled, snuggling closer to her father. The stars seemed brighter than usual, as if they too were celebrating his return. Somewhere out in the galaxy, Council observer Yithon made their final entry in the historical record. "The humans taught us a lesson today. They did not calculate the worth of their people. They simply refused to leave them behind. And they have the power to enforce that belief. Other species may have older civilizations and greater technology. But the humans have something we have forgotten. They have each other. And they will never let that go." Yithon closed their record. The entry would be studied for generations. A reminder to all species of what happened when they underestimated the young race from Earth. On that rooftop in Chicago, Daniel held his daughter close. Grateful for every heartbeat, every breath, every moment. He was home. And Earth had shown the galaxy what that meant.